Good morning. As they would say, Aaron go brow. But having said that, this would be shifting the burden of proof to the State's Attorney's Office from the defendant on a statutory summary suspension hearing. The statutory summary suspension statute is very unique. It was drafted many years ago, and it was on the model of Minnesota. We have, at this point, still have the hearings in the circuit courts. There's been a movement by the Secretary of State and by others to take it out of there, but so far they are still in the circuit courts, and the burden initially is on the defendant. Let's take a look at the statute. Statutory summary suspension statute 625 ILCS 5/11-501.1. And again, the burden is on the defendant. You look at the statute, and it's important to note, it says any person who drives or is in actual physical control of a motor vehicle upon the public highway. The component is two different parts. Who drives? That is fairly clear. Individuals who are driving down the road or who are parked in the roadway, that would be clearly who drives. The one that is a little more legally challenging is actual physical control. We'll talk about actual physical control in a little while, but having said that, there are only about 7 or 8 cases in the state of Illinois that talk about what is actual physical control. And again, under People versus Cummings, Village of Naperville versus Watson, and these, they are in fact the cases that you're going to want to look at as a prosecutor to see actually what is actual physical control. The burden is on the defendant to show, or may show, that he was not under, or she was not under actual physical control. You also, as a prosecutor, want to take a look at those cases because in your prosecution, the criminal part, that the burden is on you of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, you're going to want to make sure you know the circumstances of actual physical control. The second part of the statutory summary suspension Part A statute that's important is upon the public highways of this state. Now, I will tell you that the public highway definition has been expanded. And we will talk in a few minutes, give you exact examples of what those are. But again, important, any person who drives or is in actual physical control of a motor vehicle upon the public highways of this state. Once the motorist is arrested, and the officer must have probable cause, which is equivalent to reasonable grounds in statutory summary suspension hearings, to believe that the motorist is under the actual influence of either alcohol, drugs, the compounds, or other drugs in the state of Illinois to, in fact, get to it. It's laid out in the statute, but again, the officer must have reasonable grounds, probable cause to believe the motorist is under the influence, in fact, to make the arrest. The provision in this statute has been expanded, and it's important to note where a police officer may travel into an adjoining state, where the motorist has been transported for medical care, to complete the investigation and to request that the person submit to testing in that state. Prior to that, the officer, based on all of the case law, could not travel into the adjoining state, whether it be Wisconsin, Indiana, Kentucky, or Iowa, to do that. But now, or Missouri, now they can, and in fact are allowed to do that under the provision.